What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Izzy's Retro Video Game Reviews. And on this episode, man, I'm gonna be taking you back 4 years ago, which with all that's going on in the world right now, between post COVID and everything like that, it seems like we all lived four different lifetimes in the last 4 years. But in all seriousness, man, I'm gonna be taking you back to 2020 to review a sequel to one of the greatest stories ever told. And I'm not just talking about in the history of video games, I'm talking about ever. Like, the story of the game that I'm going to talk about is probably second to none. It's it's got everything, man, and of course I'm talking about The Last of Us Part Two. But before I get to my thoughts and I talk a little bit about the game and what I was going through at the time, let's just take a look at the trailer.
I know you wish things were different. I wish things were different. Ellie! But they ain't.
Please stop! I'm leaving tomorrow.
To do this smart, we'd be leaving Jackson vulnerable.
So they just get to get away with this?
How'd you find us?
You can't stop this.
I want what you want. But not at any cost. I really hope you make it.
I have to finish it.
There's a cost.
We could have killed you.
Maybe you should have.
PlayStation.
Oh man, so what did I tell you, man? Like, even the story, even the trailer for the game is heavy, man. So let me just take you out back, man. So June of 2020, I remember this because, of course, it was during the beginning of COVID. The world was pretty much locked down, man, and everybody was just looking for something to do. And me especially, I wasn't doing YouTube back then, and it was just a really, really dark time in everyone's life, man. Having to wear masks and social distancing and all that stuff. So we were just looking like everybody was just looking for that little bit of solace to get them through that dark time in the world, man. And for me personally, it was video games. And The Last of Us, I really enjoyed the first one. The first one was probably like I said in the beginning of the video. This whole the whole Last of Us franchise, man. It's such a compelling story. Both parts of it are both. It'll like make you laugh. It'll make you cry. It's cringeworthy and at times, and and the sequel, The Last of Us Part Two, was no different. So I remember the day that I that I picked it up at my local GameStop. There was a line outside, probably a block long, to try and get the game, whether you pre-ordered it or you didn't pre-order, or you're just trying to test your luck, trying to find a copy, because it was very difficult to get if you didn't pre-order. But I remember having to go to my sister's house on the day that I picked the game up. So I'm like, okay, I got the game, but I have to go home. I gotta drop it off, and then after I come back from my sister's house in the Bronx, Carmen, shout out to her, I have to. I'm definitely gonna dive into this, because you've seen the spoiler up until that point. You've seen the spoilers online of why people were so pissed off and were not panning the game, but were giving it a lot of flack because of certain story elements that happen, with the death of Joel, and everybody read into the death of Joel. Spoiler alert! Everybody read into the death of Joel and was like, oh, how could they do that? He's such an essential part of the game, and yes, he is. But as you played through The Last of Us 2, you kind of saw things from the antagonists, Abby, and her side of things. So Abby is a character who, if you play the first game, you know the ending scene where Ellie is where the doctors are trying to find a cure for the infected, for the people that get infected during the post-apocalyptic outbreak and all that, and Abby's father was a doctor, that was going to essentially kill Ellie and find a cure for the world, but Joel stopped that. So that there's that heavy element of it, and then there's the element of why did Joel stop it, knowing that this would have cured, even though Ellie would have to get sacrificed to die in order to find a cure, this is going to sacrifice one and save millions. So there's that heavy element of it, and then there's the element of like seeing everybody looks at Abby as the antagonist, like I said, but you have to understand where she's coming from. If somebody went and killed your father, regardless of what the circumstances were, how would you feel? Especially when your father was trying to do some good, as we found out playing through The Last of Us Part 2. What would you do? And you have, of course, the death of a core character in a game is difficult, but this one, as controversial as it might sound, the death of Joel was pretty warranted. Like I said, I didn't look at it that way at the time, but then playing through it and just really getting the chance to replay the beautiful story that it was, that's my thoughts coming out of it, and so for me, this game is, like I said, this game is extremely heavy. A lot of things to think about, and then you have Ellie's personal growth as a character, and the side points, the side plot points that beside her trying to get revenge on Abby, the man that killed the only person that gave a damn about her, honestly, Joel. There's her love life and her exploring her sexuality and stuff like that. It's a very, very story driven experience, and that's what made it so great. And I was talking to somebody about this the other day. I said after I beat the game for a second time on PS5, because they released a remastered version of the Part 2 not too long ago on PlayStation 5. Updated visuals, a little bit of brand new modes and stuff like that, and the accessibility features were great for everybody that uses those. But I was talking to somebody about it the other day, and I said to them, after I beat the game for a second time, knowing what I know now, and taking a look back, taking a replay through the story, and having more time to analyze it, and not just thinking about the death of Joel, which is what this game is centered on. Which is what the game was centered on when it first came out, and that was the main plot point that everybody was looking at. But you're gonna need a moment, because it's heavy on both sides. You play as Abby and Ellie, and essentially you experience the story, the same story from their points of view, and it's a lot to deal with, and you're definitely gonna need a moment. I certainly did, because the epic finale with the battle between Abby and Ellie, and Ellie has a chance to kill Abby, but then it's like, you kill the woman that essentially killed the most important person in your life. But then what does that do? When does it end? When does the vicious cycle of death and revenge and everything end? And that's one of the things that Ellie had to struggle with throughout the game, and especially at the end, with her having Diana, her girlfriend, being pregnant from a previous relationship, and then Ellie trying to deal with that too, and it's just a lot. It's very, very good, and I cannot wait to see how season 2 of the show deals with everything that I just talked about, and how they break it down, and how many essentially you can probably get, if you were to cover everything in the second game in season 2, you're probably able to get maybe 2 seasons out of it in itself, because you can essentially in the first season 2, you can essentially cover the whole thing from Ellie's side, and then if you choose to do 2B, or if they call it season 3, you can cover Abby's side of things, and that would be pretty cool to see how the showrunners and Neil Druckmann approach that, and how they choose to break it down, because they're like I said, there's a lot of meat on the bone. But anyway, that remains to be seen, man. But as far as the game goes, man, like I said at the beginning of this, man, probably one of the greatest stories ever told, and hopefully somewhere down the line we get a part 3 that deals with the aftermath of everything that happened in part 2. Although I'm not sure how you top part 2 Hell, we didn't even think they were gonna top part one, but they did. And man, I'm just such a huge fan of this franchise, and I'm probably going to, after I take my moment, I'm probably gonna replay the first one and then eventually replay the second one again. But yeah, season 2 of The Last of Us, the show, comes out next year, so can't wait for that. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this little retrospective that I put together on The Last of Us Part 2. That is going to do it for this episode, but like, subscribe, share. Don't forget to hit that notification button so you don't miss a video. And of course, we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.